TMC Newsroom. My name is Rich Tehrani. Thanks for watching us today. We are at IT Expo East 2011 in Miami, Florida. On our program today is Mike Coffey, who is the CEO and the chairman of the board of Commetrex. Mike, how are you?
Doing well. How are you doing, Rich?
I'm doing really well. So
Nice
I was hoping we could start out by just going over what your company does.
Okay. Well, Commetrex is a developer of telephony platforms, primarily fax. We're known as a fax technology developer, and we think of ourselves as the leading developer of fax technologies. Not the market leader, but certainly in developing of the technologies, which we license to equipment vendors and also make available in our Bladeware HMP media server.
Now, even though we have so many different ways to communicate nowadays, fax and especially IP fax are still very important, aren't they?
Not going away. I read the other day that commercial fax deployment began 150 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, 150 years ago. The fax standard that we use today is 1980. It was first published then because the Intel microprocessor actually made it possible.
Right.
But the long distance electronic transmission of images is 150 years old. The T38 standard, which began, which was published in 1998, marked the beginning of real-time fax over IP networks. And that's 13 years old.
Amazing. Really amazing how long it's been around. I didn't realize it was.
And it's not going away.
No, I hear that from a lot of the vendors in the space. So I noticed you were at the SIP trunking sessions yesterday. Actually, now it's a SIP Trunk UC Summit at IT Expo. What sorts of things were being discussed, and what did you touch on there?
Yeah, well, the smart people at Engate decided to devote a 1-hour session to FOIP. And I'm glad they did, because it's become critically important to the industry. There are many believe, and I'm one of them, that the global transition from TDM networks to IP networks cannot and will not be complete until real-time fax is brought along with it. As we said, it's not going away. So we better solve the problems that folks are experiencing with what I call phase 2 deployment of T38. Phase 1 was in the enterprise.
Right.
And fax T38 came out, as I said, in 1998. A few years later, we saw gateways, ATAs, HMP media servers, and even some early VoIP service provider deployments by the mid point of the decade. And we've now figured out pretty much how to make FOIP work and work seamlessly and reliably within enterprise deployments. But for the most part, FOIP comes to a screeching halt at the edge of the corporate network, where gateways jump in, take over, and send a fax to the PSTN. But with SIP trunking, things are changing. Instead of gateways, folks are making calls directly to their ITSP service provider. And those service providers interconnect with large footprint IP carriers. That's where the problems begin.
Right.
The issues have to do with the peering of one network with another,
right,
and call handoff. Session border controllers get involved. They slow down the signaling, and that creates problems. And that is the specific task that the SIP Forum has taken on, and its FOIP task group, of which I'm co-chair.
So the PSTN, which is this 100-year-old network, is still involved in a lot of fax transmission, which slows it down, makes it potentially buggy, because you've got to translate from IP-based communications back to the PSTN with a gateway, and then back and forth, and that really messes things up. So the goal is a pure IP fax connection from machine to machine, or computer to computer, or endpoint to endpoint, and dealing with the negotiation protocols and ensuring that that happens smoothly is where the industry is.
Smoothly is the operative word. Smoothly from carrier to carrier. That even if it's IP to IP, that transition needs to be fast and smooth.
Right.
And that's what we're working on. Now, neither the SIP forum, which is primarily equipment vendors, nor the I3 forum, which is the organization of global carriers that is specifically, it was founded 2 years ago, specifically to aid the transition of the global network to IP. They have realized the same thing we've realized in the SIP forum, that we have to make sure that those call setup statistics for IP facts equal or exceed that of TDM facts.
Right.
Let's go for equal.
I understand.
And so the task group has done a great deal to get to the point where we can now address that problem. We have improved in the T38 standard with recommendations to the ITU, which were accepted and are available in the October 2010 update to T38. We've also solved the problem of how you can interoperate with the high-speed fax, super G4 fax in gateways. Those documents have been published. They're a valuable work product of the task group. And now we're facing the problem of how to deal with the carriers. In other words, we want to solve the phase 2 problems. To do that, the I3 forum and the SIP forum task groups, FOIP task groups, have agreed to work together. We have 14 carriers, international carriers, that have signed up to do carrier-to-carrier testing.
Right.
We have provided them with our fax server.
Right.
We have 14 installed in North America, Europe, Asia, and Africa, 4 continents where these carriers are based. And they are all now we've already gone through 2 rounds of testing. The 3rd round will begin next week, and then the real work begins. It's taken us 4 months to get these systems installed and the problems worked out of how they interconnect with their own networks.
Right.
But now we are actually testing, and then we have to do the analysis. Once the analysis is complete, the forum will come out with recommendations of best practices, and with some luck, we will get where we want to be by the end of the year.
That's great.
You know, we all have day jobs, and so we have to do this in our spare time, and it really deserves to be a full-time job.
So Mike, we've got about 30 seconds left. I wanted to ask you, what are you showing here at IT Expo?
Smart FOIP, which is a patent-pending technology that we've developed to help solve a lot of these problems. It specifically addresses the problem of the failures that occur in SIP fax call setup. And any product, we're putting that technology into 3 of our products. So if you're having problems with FOIP, there's one place to go, the Commetrex booth.
That's right. That's great, and congratulations on doing so well for so many years. I've known you now at least since 1995, so it's been
it has been
a long and fun ride under single ownership, your company, and you've innovated through and come out with new products as the market's evolved. So congratulations.
A pleasure. Thank you, Rich.